Have you ever wondered why at the Kaaba there are always security guards standing in front of Muslims while they are praying? Well, you will find the answer in this video. In this video we will reveal to you why Imam Sudais was attacked by a man while leading prayer at Kaaba. We will also present to you a part of the powerful speech that another Imam at Kaaba pronounced in a Friday sermon and for which he was later sentenced for 10 years in prison.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to We Talk Islam.
Brothers and sisters, we are living in a time that Islamophobia has reached its peak. In recent years, imams at Kaaba have faced acts of violence, including attacks, like the one that occurred during a Friday sermon, when a man holding a knife attempted to attack the imam, but the security guards intervened in time and arrested him. Earlier in October 2020, another man driving at high speed broke down the doors of the Grand Mosque and was once again arrested before the worst happened. It's not all. The chief imam at Kaaba, Abdur Rahman Al-Sudais, has also encountered such incident. It was a horrifying and nightmarish incident for the Muslim Ummah. You must be wondering, why was Imam Sudais targeted? Well, you will find out right now, but before we answer that, let's see who is Imam Sudais. Al-Sudais is a scholar and one of the most popular Islamic figures in the world. He is most famous for his Quran recitation with a voice that touches the hearts of listeners. Having become an imam at the Grand Mosque in Mecca at a very young age, Sheikh Abdul Rahman Al-Sudais is indeed an inspiring figure for many Muslims around the world. Al-Sudais is a man of dignity, a pious man who has devoted his entire life to serve the religion of Allah. He is known as a man who has, at multiple occasions, raised his voice against what this state has been doing against the innocent people in the Middle East. He has openly and publicly made remarks about this group of people and their ideology, and has stated that they are a threat to peace and stability in the Middle East and in the world in general. Since then, they started to see him as their enemy. They accused him of calling people to terminate the Jews, but this is not true. He has never done such a thing. He only recited some verses of the Quran about the history of this people and tried to show the link with what is happening now in that region. In the famous Friday sermon, which had caused a lot of controversies in Saudi Arabia and Israel, he focused more particularly on the normalization process which was underway between Netanyahu's governments and certain Arab countries, namely the famous Abraham Accords. But they manipulated his speech and attributed to him things that he didn't say. This is why Abdur Rahman Al-Sudais was banned from entering the United States and Canada. One day, while Sheikh Sudais was leading a prayer at the Grand Mosque, an unknown man came from the right upward direction and tried to attack him, but the guards were fast to intervene and succeeded to protect him. The man was arrested, but the imam did not break the prayer, nor the people who were praying behind him. According to some Saudi media, the man claimed to be Imam Mahdi, a claim which many observers described as a diversion. Abdur Rahman Al-Sudais was not the only one to be targeted. In 2018, the former imam at Kaaba, Imam Saleh Al-Talib, was arrested and jailed for 10 years by the Saudi government, led by Mohammed bin Salman. You are probably asking yourself, what crime did this imam commit to undergo such a severe punishment? The truth is, the imam didn't commit any crime. He was arrested because he delivered a sermon criticizing some Saudi government's policies which are against the teachings of Islam. In fact, he was imprisoned after conveying a sermon criticizing mixed public gatherings that were being organized by the Saudi authorities. He criticized the concerts and events that have become commonplace in Saudi Arabia, where singers from Western countries come to perform in Saudi Arabia. These concerts, organized and financed by the Saudi authorities, are seen by many Orthodox Muslims as a deviation from cultural and religious norms. Here's part of the speech that cost Sheikh Talib 10 years in prison.
Beware of cinematic comedy concerts. They claim they are entertainment, but in reality they are nothing more than Western projects with deliberate and progressive steps to corrupt our society. They have no alternatives other than promiscuity, dancing and mixing between males and females. This is nothing but disgrace and a bad omen for the country. You are spending people's money on your frivolous programs without right and without benefit. You spend it, then it will be a regret for you. Then you will be defeated. Yes, you will be defeated in the battle of values and morals. A society that is still steadfast in its religion will beat you, no matter how stumbling or weak it is. Your programs will be defeated by the Quran memorization sessions that you are fighting against. Our lofty minarets that resound "God is great, God is great" every day and night 5 times will defeat you.
ستغلبكم مآذننا السامقة التي تدوي الله أكبر الله أكبر كل يوم وليلة 5 مرات فتلامس أسماعنا.
After pronouncing this speech in a Friday sermon, Imam Talib was arrested, and later he was sentenced for having performed his duty as a Muslim to remind others to do good and avoid evil. He is right now executing his sentence, while his wife and children are alone at home suffering from his absence. Saudi authorities are known for routinely imprisoning activists, journalists, and preachers without a clear cause. Dozens of preachers have reportedly been arrested since 2017, including some who called for reconciliation between the Gulf states when Saudi Arabia orchestrated a siege against neighboring Qatar. Many of those clerics are still in jail, despite relations between the neighbors since being normalized. In a large-scale crackdown targeting preachers, scholars as well as academics, in 2022, the Saudi government sentenced the famous Sheikh Abdullah Basphar to 12 years in prison. Basphar was an internationally renowned imam, teacher, and Quran reciter. He was arrested in August 2020 after a video of him leading prayers at the famous Hagia Sophia Mosque in Istanbul back in 2014 spread online. He was held in pre-trial detention for 2 years, in which time he was harassed by interrogators. It is unclear exactly what charges Basphar was convicted on, but his leading of prayer in Istanbul in 2014 came during a deep low in diplomatic relations between Saudi Arabia and Turkey. In the same year, 2022, Saudi authorities sentenced doctoral student Salma al-Shehab to 34 years in prison after publishing tweets criticizing the government. In her tweets, she called for reforms in the country, as well as the release of imprisoned activists, preachers, and other intellectuals. My brothers and sisters, that's what is happening in Saudi Arabia. We ask Allah to open their hearts so that they can start following the way left by our beloved Prophet ﷺ and stop being led by worldly interests. Assalamu alaikum.